Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've been having a very good week. I'm Kathy W. Welcome to the January 9th chat. Do you have your cups and yarn ready? Let's settle in for a Friday visit. Now, first, an apology. This week I was a bit late replying to emails and comments. First, for a whole day and an evening this week, our whole building was without power and therefore without internet. And I have to admit, my routine and schedule has been off for a number of days this week. First, because of that, and also I've been having trouble with one of my ears, so I've been resting a little bit more than usual on so many things. I've been trying to get caught up, but it's taking me a little bit of time. So please know how much I appreciate you watching here and your emails and your comments. And I do reply to each and every one, and I'm so sorry it's been a little bit of time getting back to you. Now, it is wonderful to visit together each Friday, and when I say this is one of my highlights of the week, it really is. Today, in addition to sharing about a couple of finished items, one that I thought would be mosaic and yet was not. Instead, I learned a totally new stitch with it. Also a scarf that I made to go with it, and then about progress on the first blanket of 2026. And quick mentions about a few make-alongs. One is a knit one that's by the Kitchen Sink Shop and will be in the theme of gratitude. And let's start there. I purchased a pattern by the Kitchen Sink Shop that offers monthly gratitude prompts and a tracker, and it's kind of like a temperature blanket but with dishcloths and for gratitudes. And I'm about to do day 9 on it, so I'll just show you what mine looks like so far. So here we go. There. Here's the look of it so far. And if you would like to learn more about this make-along, I heard about it on the Kitchen Sink Shop Instagram, and there is a pattern available on Ravelry for this. As always, anything that I mention here will be typed up in the description box if you'd like to find out more details. This, every day, you answer the prompt, and then you do two rows in a particular color as related to your answer. And so that's I've been doing maybe 2 days worth at a time, so it's not been difficult to keep up with, and I'm very interested in how these are going to work up. And these particular dishcloths I'm going to keep for myself. So other dishcloths that I make, I donate, but these ones are going to be for me, I think. Now, about another upcoming event, there is an event that I want to mention. However, because I think here in Canada the book costs more than what I'm comfortable paying, I'm going to purchase the Ravelry version. Not going to make each dishcloth in that crochet along. However, maybe when I see ones that really catch my eye, I will pop in and make them. So for anyone who might already have the book, it's called The Little Encyclopedia of Dishcloths, or if you can find it at a reasonable price, the Crochet Along is by Missy's Universe. no, Missy's Yarniverse. It's called Duck Duck Dishcloth, and the book she will be using for the crochet along. Again, it's called The Little Encyclopedia of Dishcloths. Another event that I'm pretty excited about, really excited about, is a new upcoming event that Judy's Creations in Crochet will be hosting lives on her channel. It's called Conversations with Judy. The first live will be on Sunday, January 18th. If you have time to pop in, Judy, Diane, and I will be starting off the 2026 conversations, and it will be great to hear from you in the chat during the live. I'm not sure whether to mention the topic here. It might be a surprise. Maybe we can all watch Judy's videos leading up to the 18th and see on the next few Thursdays whether she will be revealing the topic ahead of time for the first month. I hope to see you there at the live, or I hope that you will watch the replay if you're not available. It will be for about an hour on January 18th, starting at 2 o'clock Eastern. I'm so happy that many of you joined me in the Something New Make-Along, and last month one of the viewers emailed asking about some inspiration pictures or information about each technique in the month. So for anyone new, details about the Something New Make-Along for this month, they're in the January 5th video. This month, the technique we are all exploring is texture, and for the make-along, your whole piece does not have to be textured as long as there is something in there that is texture. And I have to say, when it comes to making things, I do really like texture. It's one of my favorites. When looking for hints and tips about this, I started by looking at my stitch dictionaries. I have 3, and I was browsing definitions online as well. And the common thing that I found is that they all say that textures are not flat or smooth. Texture requires protrusions or changes in height of some kind in the fabric. And then after that, there are some variations in the definitions. One of the stitch dictionaries is very specific about the stitches that qualify, and I'm not sure that I agree with this. As long as the fabric has some kind of change in elevation, I think it qualifies. Another of my books and also a viewer who emailed me both have a wonderful idea. That is, the yarn choice itself can be what brings texture to the piece. So even simple stitches with a textured yarn can be included. That is an exciting option. Another option that I thought might be included this month is any project where you might include embellishments like beads or appliques, as these would also feel textural. Oh, and when it comes to yarn choice, I have learned that often when working with texture, using either light colors or bright colors is helpful, so that the beauty of this stitch in the texture really shines. Those moody charcoals and navies and deep colors would hide your beautiful work. Another tip is possibly to have a little more yarn than you usually need for that size of project. Some of those texture stitches can use up yarn more than others, and none of us likes to play yarn chicken unless we have to. One way that I look for inspiration is by doing a Google search or a YouTube search for ideas. Pinterest is another way to find ideas. And another of the ways that I look for inspiration is by using the Ravelry search engine. On Ravelry, I first click on patterns. I use the advanced search, and then under something called attributes found along the left hand side of the screen, I selected textured. And then from there, it's easy to further choose whether knitting or crochet, and specifics about the type of project you want to further refine the search. So here are a few pictures of projects from Ravelry as a starting point and for inspiration. And I'll move over so I can put the pictures here. First, for knitting, KAL by Kim Smith. This pattern is designed to imitate the texture of dragon scales. April Hat by Courtney Kelly, a pattern that was part of a 12 hat series from 2019, the year of hats. One Row Hand Spin Scarf by Stephanie Pearl McPhee. This is an easy pattern, useful for yarn of any gauge, and can be made narrow or wide to accommodate the amount of yarn. Squares Diamond Moss Stitch, which is done by Loom Knitting, is by Amanda Pratt, and also a traditionally knit version of Diamond Moss Stitch by Heather Gibbs. Another simple pattern made using knit and purl stitches. That one is in a multiple of 12. And for crochet, Hugs and Kisses Baby Blanket by Jean Stein-Helberger. Two stitches that are often used in crochet texture are the popcorn or bobble and the cross stitch. They are both present in this blanket. Next, Sakura Market Bag by KAME Crochet. The texture on the bottom of this market bag looks like it is using post stitches, another crochet stitch that is often part of crochet texture patterns. Dragon Scale Fingerless Gloves by Yarnivore UK. A few years ago, I made a couple of pairs of these for a friend. This is another way to achieve texture. Each of the crochet and knit examples here has a free option. These are just a small sample of all that is available when it comes to texture. And if you do a test swatch and see that there are changes in elevation to it, then by all means, that is a textured stitch. I hope you have a lot of fun exploring the options. And I'm really excited to see our upcoming slideshow in February. Oh, and a reminder, the other make-along on this channel, the Smaller Than a Bread Box slideshow, is coming soon. It will be on January 23rd. If you can please send your pictures for the Smaller Than a Bread Box slideshow to me by January 21st. And now for my finished items from this week. When it comes to finished items, the first item that I completed this week is a scarf. It is called the Definitely Diagonal Scarf. It is a design by Kris Basta, and I'll pull it up close. I used Bernat Super Value stripes in the color Meadow Stripes and a 6mm needles to knit this one. I only had one skein of this brunette yarn left in stash, and I finished the scarf with some Mary Maxim Starlet in the color Royal Blue. And then to complete the set, I found a hat pattern. And this one I could use scraps, and I thought it would be a mosaic, and yet it became something totally different. Equally pretty, just not mosaic. So for this hat, I used scraps of the Burnett yarn here and here, and some Mary Maxim holiday yarn in green that I had left over in this part, and also on the top of that in the crown. And the main color is the Mary Maxim Starlet in Royal Blue. In this pattern, I learned a new stitch called the Lotus stitch. You can see here. And included with the pattern were video tutorials for the Lotus stitch, and I found that was very helpful. The pattern is designed by Wiam's Crafts, and it's called the Christmas Lotus Hat. I used a 4.5 millimeter needles for the brim and 5 millimeter for the body of the hat, and both of these will be donated together to Casting Off the Cold. And now for my works in progress. Since last Friday, I've been working on a corner to corner blanket, and to make it, I'm using the last of a bunch of tangle bags that I purchased at Cambridge Fibers a number of years ago, and I am hopeful that there will be enough yarn here to finish this teen-sized blanket. The pattern is corner to corner throw, and now here we go. I'll show you how it's working up so far. Oops. Let's hold it this way. You can see I still have a little ways to go. There. And this is all using tangle bag yarn, which a tangle bag is yarns that are sort of, as it says, it all comes kind of tangled, and you have to undo it and cake it up yourself. There's no indication of what the yarn actually is. There's no label on it, but it comes in a large bag, and then you just work to get it into a useful way, and it's wonderful to use for donation. So the pattern I'm using is by Catherine Watson for that one, and the pattern name is Corner to Corner Throw. And now to end the video with a quote for the day, since today had hints and tips about texture, the quote will also be about textured stitches, and the quote was from page 89 in the book Crochet Techniques, Stitches, Patterns, by Marie-Noelle Bayard, and she writes on page 89, textured stitches, too long ignored. Textured stitches are much less complicated than they appear. By winding the yarn a few times or working sideways through the stitches, you can rapidly build textures that have striking three-dimensional effects. Some raised stitches look similar to Aran patterns, which are traditionally knit on needles. You'll soon develop the skill required for these stitches. All you have to do is work a sample swatch or two before you start your pattern. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Enjoy your crochet, enjoy your knitting, and I hope to see you next video.